welcome to my channel. If you have not already, make sure you take time for your life to subscribe, turn the notifications on. Appreciate you. On today's video, we're going to be talking about how I got this lovely apartment of mine with no job and a bad credit score. So literally, like, what this video really is about is how to get an apartment as a stripper or as an independent contractor. So you gotta have some money coming in. So if you think that you about to just get an apartment and not have no income, then you are sadly wrong and you're on the wrong video. But if you are here to figure out how us strippers be getting into places and shit, then tune right on in, because you're in the right spot.
I'm Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me. I'm Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me.
JMFDL, bitch.
I'm Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me. I'm Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me. Doing me. Doing me.
I'm Jimi Meaux, I'm doing me. I'm Jimi Meaux. Hey, so for the impatient people who don't like story times and want to get straight to the point, I'm like y'all. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut straight to the point, then I'm gonna go into a story time with some tips for some people who need more detail. So if you are a stripper or an independent contractor and you want to get an apartment, there's no secret finesse where you gotta get a fake name and a fake address and print out fake check stubs. You don't have to do none of that. If you own a business or whatever the case may be, where your money comes in and it's not like a typical paycheck, all you have to do is all you need is either your last year's tax return or you need a letter from your employer, which is what I did. I got a letter that said, hey, this person works at this club making this amount of money these days a week. Boom. Back to my story time. For those of you who need a bit more detail and background with y'all nosy asses, I'm here for y'all. I'm nosy too. So let's start talking about it. Back in January, I was doing premium and I had an open CPS case. Me and my son both had PTSD, so we were referred to this caseworker that was coming and talking to us and working with us and helping us work out our issues. Let me to get that bun right. So my son and I were having PTSD because we had our car accident. Please refer to I totaled my vehicle and got a boob job video if you'd like to know more about my car accident. PTSD, my son was going to school, but then while he was at school, he was having suicidal thoughts. So I started keeping him home with me where he wasn't having no suicidal thoughts. I guess I didn't pull him out of school the correct way, so that brought a red flag to the truancy courts, and they forwarded my son's information over to CPS. Also taught my son how to load a pistol. That struck an investigation, which actually led to my son being invited to the police range to shoot. I got this CPS case, and so I'm working with my caseworker, and she's like, hey, if you have an open CPS case, you can get a FUP voucher. What is a FUP voucher? A FUP voucher is a form of Section 8. So it's a family unification voucher, and it's made to reunify children who have been separated from their home or separated due to a CPS case to help them get reunited. One of the qualifications for having a FUP voucher is you had to be homeless, which I was not at the time. So I thought, I'm tired of living in this one bedroom. I was living in a one bedroom at a time. It was me and my son. He had the room, and I literally slept on the couch, and it was just a super toxic situation. And I was ready to go. I was real cool with my landlord. They was like, yeah, if you get that through, we'll end your lease early, and then we can get you set up in a 2-bedroom. We already got one for you, blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking, okay, this is about to be smooth sailing, So I terminate my lease. I move out. I send my son with my mom. Me and my mom don't get along. I'm not welcome to stay at her house. So I was staying in hotels. I ended up moving with my trick. And he let me stay there. Now, I moved out January February 1st, and then I moved into my apartment March 7th. So I was without an apartment for all of a month and a week, and it was the longest month and week of my goddamn life. 2 weeks into me being homeless, I realized that my CPS worker did not send my forms in. She didn't send my information in. She was trying to get me to sign a release that I didn't have to sign. So at that moment, I realized I'm not getting Section 8 and I'm going to be on my own. If I get Section 8, I'm going to be on these people's time, and they don't see the importance of me and my son being under the same roof. So I started looking for an apartment. Now, I applied to 3 apartments in total. I got denied for 1, and then I got approved for 2. Every apartment that I went to, I was very upfront from the jump. When I applied, I told them straight up, my credit score is bad. I got this, that, blah, beep, biggity, bop, bop, boobity, sheep, dot going on, you know. And I was like, all right, cool. So the first place, they was some bullshitters. It was my son's grandma's apartment complex. And she was in the hospital. She had a stroke, and there was a $300 referral fee if I would have gotten approved and moved in. So I'm like, okay, let me help. Maybe, you know, I can move into this complex, and you know, my son's grandma can get $300 off her rent and save her a little bit of money. I didn't get approved. So I told them everything that was going on. They were like, yep, okay, application fee is $50, and then administration fee is $150. So where I'm applying that, it's not like no normal $35 application fee. You're paying $200 per apartment because you have the application fee and the administration fee. So I give them their money, and I basically never hear from them again. All right, so I did hear from them, but to me, like, you know, it felt like I didn't hear from them again, because every time I would call them and be like, hey, I want to check on my application. Hey, what's going on with my application? They would give me the runaround. I ended up going up there and crashing my Trix car because I was so thirsty to figure out if I was approved or not, only for me to go home, and then they finally call and say, yeah, we're not going to be able to approve you for your apartment. Like, bitch, you could have just said that. Some mistakes I made: 1, I feel like blowing them up, being too thirsty, and then 2, being super vague on my actual application. I was super vague about what I did for work and like everything else. The second place I applied for was right across the parking lot. They were actually a little bit nicer, a little bit more expensive, and I knew that they dealt with strippers. I went and I was up front with the man. I told him everything, and he was like, cool. Like, he pretty much approved me right there. He showed me the apartment. Like, he just wanted too much. So he wanted the application fee, the administration fee, so that was $200. Then there was like an amenity fee, and then there was like the regular deposit. Then he wanted me to pay like 2.5 months rent up front, and it was just like maybe even $6,000. I just didn't have that kind of money. So, you know, I just kind of kept him on standby, like, okay, cool, I'll get back to you. If I couldn't have gotten anything else, absolutely, like, I would have came up with the money and moved right in, but I was still weighing out my options. So then there was this place I stumbled across on like Apartment Finder. I don't even remember what I was on, but I saw this apartment. I called, I came, and I viewed like 4 or 5 different apartments, and this one was the one that I liked. Now, there's like really tiny differences in these apartments. Like, for the most part, they all look exactly alike, but I knew that this one was mine because I liked the view, I liked the location, and then I liked like the kitchen sink and the extra shelves they had in the master bath. So I was like, this one mine is right here. So I applied for it. Now, mind you, I'm still going back and forth with CPS. They were trying to like trick me into signing a release. And so I'm going like from my CPS caseworker to her supervisor, to her supervisor, to his supervisor, and I'm handing them all their asses on a fucking silver platter. So at this point, I'm tapped out. I was about to blow this complex up the way I was blowing up the other one. So they call me and they're like, you got approved, but these are the terms. First, we're gonna need proof of income. And so I send them my bank statement. One bank statement I had made like $4,500, and then my other bank statement I had $2,500 from that month. So they like, oh, okay. So she got money, but they like, that's not gonna work for us. We're gonna need your previous tax return, which my taxes, not about to self-incriminate or nothing, but you know, sis be trying to get a return. So my taxes did not reflect what my income was at that point. So my only option was to get a letter from my employer. Strip clubs that opens at 8 o'clock are gonna be closed. They'll never be able to call and verify. Once I brought in my letter of employment, literally, like, she looked at it, said, okay, good. And I got approved. I had to pay my application fee. I had to pay administration fee. So the application fee was $50. The administration fee was $150. Then I had to pay like the deposit, which was $300. And then there's an amenity fee. For like the amenities, it's like just a one-time amenity fee. I think that was like maybe $150 or $250. I can't remember. And then I had to pay last month's rent and first month's rent up front. And so I came up with that money. Like, I think I found out March 1st. And again, I was in my apartment by March 7th. Tips for people who are looking for an apartment. One, have good rental history. If you don't have good rental history, you need to find you an auntie who's a homeowner with a verifiable renter address, and have them like advocate for you. Like, oh, she's been living with me for a year, 6 months, and she paid her rent on time. Two, don't be thirsty, okay? Let them call you, let them come to you. What I found is that these people, it costs a lot of money to move into an apartment, and they want your money. So if you qualify and they want a rent free, they're gonna call you. Like, they had to call me a couple times for me to even come down and put my deposit in, because I was just so scarred from the last apartment. Three, like, make sure that you have a letter of employment. That's all you need, is a letter of employment. If you had a good job last year, because for here you have to make 2.5 times the amount of rent. I work at a strip club, so I make enough where like my letters were honest, but it's so easy to like do what you need to do, because independent contractors, not everybody works a normal job. Not everybody gets a paycheck, but everybody needs a place to live. We are now, I'm going into month 9 of my apartment, and I love it so much. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully this video was of some assistance. Please like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on. Let me know if you want me to do any story times, if you want any tutorials, like whatever you want to know, like let me know. I'm trying to be active more, you know.
Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me. I'm Jimi Meaux and I'm doing me.
JMFDL, bitch.